And therefore Krishna hereafter talks about himself as Nirguna Brahma Chaitanya. This we have to remember because Krishna uses the word I in 3 different meanings, which has confused many students of the Gita. Krishna is very, very loose in using the first person singular. In certain contexts, he uses the word I as the physical Krishna, having a date of birth and a date of death, and born as a contemporary of Arjuna and a friend of Arjuna. Sakheti matva bhaktosi me sakhacheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. Arjuna, you are my friend. So when Krishna addresses Arjuna as his friend, Krishna is taking himself to be a personal God, Devaki Paramanandam Vasudeva Sutam Krishna. So thus the word I sometimes means Ekarupa Ishvaraha. And there are other times when Krishna uses the word I not as a personal localized God, but as the all-pervading Virat Swarupam. Not with one form, but Aneka Rupa Ishvaraha. And where do we get such an expression? You can easily find out the entire 11th chapter. Krishna uses the word I not as Mr. Krishna, but as the total universe. Aneka Bahudara Vaktra Netram Pashyami Tvam Sarvataha Ananta Rupam. Not Eka Rupam, Aneka Rupam. And there are certain other rare occasions where Krishna uses the word I not to represent Ekarupa Ishvara, not to represent Aneka Rupa, but Arupa Nirguna Chaitanyam. And where does Krishna use such an I first person singular? In the 9th chapter, in the 7th chapter, Avyaktam Vyaktima Pannam Manyante Mam Abuddhayaha Param Bhavamajananto Mamavyayamanutamam. People think I am a human being. People think I was born because people do not know my formless higher nature. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. I have got an invisible nature which pervades all over. So in such context, the word aham means what? Arupa Ishvaraha. So what are the 3? Ekarupa Krishnaha Ishvaraha, Aneka Rupa Virat Ishvaraha, Arupa Nirguna Brahma Chaitanya. Therefore, whenever Krishna says aham, maya, mama, etc., we have to inquire and find out, is it in meaning number 1, 2 or 3? And many people get confused. Enga arupam irukko, anga aneka rupathe eduthupa, enga aneka rupam irukko, anga reka rupathe eduthupa. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Surrender to me alone. Anga me ingra. Which me? Eka rupa, aneka rupa or arupa? In the 18th chapter, it is going to come. I should not open the suspense. If you ask a Krishna consciousness fellow, such a staunch, fanatic Krishna Bhakta, he will say, Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Krishna alone you should worship, not Rama, not Ganesha, never Shiva. Shiva na valkala no dvesham. Krishnan kitta surrender pannina tam moksham. So Shankaracharya writes a very elaborate commentary. We will see that later. Shankaracharya says, their Mam neither means Eka Rupa nor Aneka Rupa, but Arupa Nirgunam Brahma alone can be the meaning there. How? Todar Anga. So there we will see. If I tell, you won't come to the class. So therefore I will keep it under suspense. So here in the following portions, when Krishna says, Tad dhama paramam mama, there mama refers to what? My own nirguna swarupam. Having said this much in the first 6 verses, from the 7th verse onwards, Krishna is entering into the next topic. The next topic is, I, the Nirgunam Brahma alone, of course with the help of Maya, I alone appear as both the Jiva as well as the Jagat. The conscious experiencer in the world and the experienced objects, both of them are my own manifestation. Just as in dream, we divide ourselves into 2, both the dream world and the dream experiencer, and we interact just as I bifurcate myself in dream. Similarly, I, the Lord alone, divide myself into Bhokta and Bhogyam. So, ahameva jiva rupena bhavishyami, aham eva jagad rupena api bhavami. And therefore, I alone am everything. This is called Sarva Ishvara Bhavaha, Sarva Brahma Bhavaha. That is the topic. And there, from the 7th verse up to the 11th verse, Krishna says, I am in the form of Jiva. Jiva means the individual experiencers in the world. And then from the 12th verse onwards, Yadadityagatam Tejaha onwards, up to 15th verse, Krishna says, I alone am in the form of the universe also. And therefore, I am all. I am everything. I am not a chinna all, but I am Perum all. Cheti padicha? Perumal. So this is the topic now. So there in the 7th verse I introduced how Bhagavan, the consciousness alone, is in the form of every jiva. And how are we to understand? Every jiva, individual, has got primarily 2 bodies, the physical body and the subtle body. The causal body is not relevant at this time. Therefore, we will ignore that now. Every individual consists of the physical body, and the subtle body we can take as the mind. And according to the Shastra, the physical body is also inert because made up of matter, and mind is also inert because it is also made up of matter. We have seen in Tattva Bodha that mind is also made up of the Pancha Sukshma Bhutani. Apanchikrita Panchamaha Bhutaikritam Satkarma Janyam Sukha Dukkhadi Bhoga Sadhanam Pancha Jnanendriyani Manaschaikam Buddhischaika Evam Saptadacha Kalabhissaha Yattishtati Tat Sukshma Shariram. Enga pathom? Tattva Bodha. So I don't want to go to the details. The idea is that the mind is made up of subtle matter or energy. Therefore, body is also inert intrinsically. The mind is also inert intrinsically. But now we find the body and mind are sentient. We are experiencing the sentiency of the body and mind. The scriptures point out this sentiency or life in the body-mind complex is not natural to the body-mind, but it is borrowed from Brahma Chaitanyam. The original all-pervading consciousness, when it pervades the mind becomes a live mind. By itself it is dead matter, but pervaded by the consciousness, the mind becomes alive. And that consciousness which pervades the mind is called Pratibimba Chaitanyam or Abhasa Chaitanyam. In the last class, I used the word RC, the reflected consciousness. So when the original consciousness pervades the individual mind, the mind becomes alive. And what does the mind do? It has borrowed life from Brahman, and out of the borrowed consciousness, the mind lends consciousness to the physical body. Kadan lend kadan. Because mind itself has borrowed from OC. And from that borrowed consciousness, mind lends consciousness to the body, and therefore now the body is also alive. So now the body is alive because of what? The mind. The mind is sentient because of what? The OC. At the time of death, what happens? At the time of death, what happens? The mind quits the body. You should not say consciousness quits. Poor consciousness cannot quit because it is all pervading. Enga pohum. So consciousness does not quit, whereas the mind quits, and therefore what happens? The mind is no more available to lend consciousness to the body. Why can't the original consciousness lend consciousness to the body? Nikata. OC cannot directly lend to the body. If OC na puriyartho illiyo, the original all-pervading consciousness can lend consciousness to the body, what will be the consequence? Can you imagine what will be the consequence? If OC can lend consciousness to the body, body will be eternally sentient. Chahave mato, we will never die. You may say it is good. Already we have got 6 billion people, and imagine nobody dies. So therefore, for the good of the world and for the good of the others, we all should successfully die. Which means the mind should quit the body, and thereafter the body will become insentient, and it will decay, and it will cause problem. Therefore, people will dispose it off. So therefore, the consciousness makes the mind sentient. The mind makes the body sentient. And therefore, whenever I see a live body, I should remember that behind the live body, there is a live mind. Even though I don't see the mind. That's why you can escape, happily think of something else also. Because I don't see your mind. I don't see your mind. Whether you are listening to me or not, it is my great optimism. But how do I know there is mind? Because you are alive, thank God. Therefore, every activity of the body is a proof to the presence of the mind, live mind. And the presence of the live mind is the proof for the original consciousness. Because without the original consciousness, lending the consciousness, mind will not be sentient. Therefore, body helps me recognize the mind. Mind helps me recognize the OC that is called God. Therefore, Krishna says, every activity of a live person is a proof for the existence of the original consciousness called God. Suppose somebody asks the question, is there electricity in this hall? Power irka illaya? How do you know? You cannot perceive because electricity is invisible. So if somebody asks whether there is power or not, what do? Look at the bulb. The bulb is called sthula shariram. So when I see a bright bulb, I know that the bulb does not have brightness of its own. Therefore, the brightness of the bulb is what? Borrowed brightness. And this brightness of the bulb is given by what? Inside the bulb sthula shariram, there is a sukshma shariram called the filament. Tungsten filament. And that filament is very bright, and that bright filament alone lends brightness to the bulb. Now the next question is, how is the tungsten, I don't know whether it is now also tungsten or something, how the tungsten filament is bright. Does the brightness belong to the filament itself, or is it borrowed? What will be your answer? The filament is not bright by itself, but now it is bright because an invisible power pervades. I don't see, but I recognize, because I tell other people there is power. I don't say there is bulb. Na paakaradu bulb. I don't say there is filament, even though I see only the filament. My reply is there is power. Power means what? Electricity. How do I recognize? Electricity enlivens the filament, makes it bright, and that bright filament makes the bulb bright. And sometimes the bulb is there, power is also there, but it is not burning. Why? Electricity irukku, bulb irukku, ana eriya maatengirudhu, veru dhaan eriyarudhu. It doesn't burn. Why? Na you say bulb is fused. Fused na anartham? Sukshma shariram out. The filament is gone. Similarly, there is a person still yesterday walking, talking, scolding, and one day I see the bulb is there. The body is like bulb also round. And of course consciousness is there everywhere, but no life. Why? Because the mind filament, which borrows consciousness and lends to the body, that mind has quit this place. Because mind is not all-pervading. And therefore Krishna says, whenever you see the activity of a living being, you remember it is the touch of the all-pervading consciousness called God. You don't require any special tapas to realize God. You need not stand on 2 feet or 1 foot or upside down or downside up. You need not do any tapas. Krishna says, for a mature mind, God is realizable in and through every movement. If I am able to talk, it is because of God. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manaha. Consciousness blesses the mind blesses the mouth, and therefore the mouth speaks. And the consciousness blesses your mind, and your mind blesses your ears, and therefore you hear. That I talk and that you listen is the most amply evident proof for the existence of God. And Krishna says, in spite of so much clear evidence, people ask, what is the proof for God? What should be our answer? You are asking this very question because of that Lord alone. This is the essence, beautiful portion. Now look at the sloka. Krishna says, Mamaiva amshaha. Mama, my. When Krishna says my, which my? Moonurku. Does he refer to Eka Rupa, Aneka Rupa, or Arupa? So here my means the Arupa Nirguna Brahma Chaitanyam, and Amshaha means reflection or pratibimba. So my own reflection alone is formed in the inert mind of everyone. Just as the electricity alone is behind every live bulb, that's why we say the wire is live wire. So there also we use the word life. Live wire. I don't see it, but I discern. Eyes do not reveal. We have to discern. If you cannot discern, Tottu Pata, instant realization and Videha Muktischa. You will get instant Videha Mukti. Therefore he says, Mamaiva Amshahananartam Pratibimbaha. He is there, Jiva Loke, in the world of living beings, which means in every body-mind complex. And what is the name of the reflected consciousness? Krishna says, Jivaha. The word Jiva means Pratibimba Chaitanyam or Abhasa Chaitanyam. Renduku ore arthanda. So Jiva is Ishvara in reflected form. Just as the original sun reflected in the mirror, we get a reflected bright sun. How many? As many mirrors are there. Similarly, as many minds are there, so many reflected Paramatmas are there. Each reflected Paramatma is called the Jivatma. So Jiva Bhutaha. And how long this Jiva lives? Sanatanaha. He is eternal. At the time of death also, Jiva does not die. Jiva quits or leaves the body. The death belongs to the physical body alone, because it doesn't have the blessing of the mind with RC. And that mind with RC is called Jiva. That Jiva doesn't die, that Jiva travels. And therefore that Jiva is eternal. When did that Jiva begin? Anadikala pravrittaha. That's why in Sankalpa, Avaniyavatta Sankalpa, Anadi avidya vasanaya. And not only the Jiva is beginningless, the Jiva will continue the journey endlessly also until liberation. And therefore Jiva is called Sanatanaha. During death, Jiva doesn't die. Even during Pralayam, the cosmic dissolution, Jivas do not die. The mind does not die. The mind goes to dormant condition as it happens in sleep. In sleep, what happens to our mind? Doesn't die. Mind goes to dormant state. How do you know? It has not died, but it has gone to dormant state only. How do you know? With the same worry. If it is a different